All right, folks, what is going on? Back with another video. Hopefully you guys had a great weekend. It is Monday and we're back on the ground. We out here working. We out here making it happen, right? So yeah, it is a little chilly out here where I am. I think this morning it was down to 40 to 45 degrees this morning. Kind of chilly for this time of the year, but nevertheless, hey, we're gonna make it happen. We put our sweaters on and go out here and work, right? With that being said, I also want to thank everybody who's been watching the content as of late. This weekend has been pretty cool. People been watching. The channel is growing. I really appreciate that. So let's continue to talk about this gaming stuff. Stop Killing Games reached Parliament, and this is a really big deal because Stop Killing Games is a movement where we want the game to stay in a functional state after support is gone. Now, we're not advocating for any games to be continuously supported. We're not looking for online support forever from the devs or the company. All we're asking for is once the game is not supported anymore, offline or online, we want the game to continue to be in a functional state where we can still, play the game or still be able to be preserved or whatever the case may be. Now, I know there's some games out there that are quote unquote mechanically unable to do that, but going forward, I'm pretty sure it can be done. It's not that big of a deal. It was done prior to this whole generation of games now that do that type of thing. Prior to that, it wasn't an issue. But with that being said, let's look at this. They went to Parliament and they made the case, and it was pretty decisive. Shout out to Ross from Accursed Farms and all the other ones who are a part of it. I'm not going to get into the actual setting and what actually happened. I'm just going to give you the straight, information where I think that they were able to make their case concise to the point where Parliament is actually listening. And that's the most important thing. They're listening to what they said. Everything you think that they came across as, every point that you thought you wanted them to make, they made that point. So, because I know there's other content out there that's telling you exactly what happened. All you need to know really is the fact that Parliament is listening is going to be a really big deal going forward. And I don't think that this situation is ever going to die off because the conversation has been made. The conversation is brought to the forefront. It is being talked about. Now we're looking at situations where these companies are going to have to listen regardless of what happens to this movement. Now, some people say this movement may fall flat on its face. It's still not done yet, and that's true. Just because the Parliament is listening, that doesn't mean any action is going to happen. There's still a lot of stuff that needs to go on with this situation. So they're going to have to continue to move in a direction where gamers can get some type of resolution that's favorable to them when it comes to these games being, not necessarily delisted, but games are just non-functional anymore. I know they talked about, not to give too much detail, games like Concord and High Guard, and even though those games were not that good, those games should still be in a functional state, in my opinion. Those games should still be out there so people can look at and be like, okay, these are the games that did not do well, and this is why. You shouldn't have to go through certain YouTube channels and certain other places just to see the game. We should be able to go back and play this game like 5-10 years down the road. Maybe we can go back and say like, hey, look at this. Remember this is how stupid this game was. You can still do that with E.T. You can still do that with Plumbers Don't Wear Ties. You can still do that with what was the other crazy game that was out there? Big Rigs. You can still do that with these games that aren't that popular, aren't that good. But it's always good for historic purposes to have these games still available. And you just want that type of aspect. And not only that, even when games that are actually pretty good, you don't want these games like, oh, the servers are dead, so the game is gone, or the game is functioning off of an online, monetization scheme, and when that scheme doesn't work anymore, we're just gonna, put the game away and the game is not working anymore. Those type of things, that shouldn't be the case. These games should still be in somewhat of a functional state. So when the game is, no longer, serviced or no longer supported, it still should be able to, be functional at the very least. Just because a game is bad, that doesn't mean that the game shouldn't be functional. And you can even go into games that are perceived as good. Look at NBA 2K. Look at Madden. Now, these games aren't necessarily killed off, but a lot of the microtransactions are gone. You can't go back and play like like an NBA 2K23 with a my player and continue to play that my player that you built and you put money into. And even if you haven't put money into it, time that you put into it, which is pretty valuable. So those type of things should still be available. Give us an offline patch and let us play with our my players throughout their careers. Because what happens is you're gonna have to go back and spend that $100. You have to go back and spend that $150. And I know some people spent more to build their my player character, and it's kind of ridiculous. It shouldn't be that way. I don't understand why these companies get away with it, but I know why they do it. They do it because they know next year you're going to spend that money again. So they even said this in the Parliament hearing. They want these games to be, they want them to be breakable, or they want them to break. So for the simple fact that, now we can go back into selling you the game again or selling you another game. They don't want you to be stuck on one game forever. They want you to continue to buy a game on a yearly, bi-yearly, or whenever they make a game basis, which I look at it like this. If you make a good game, people are going to buy it, regardless of what game is being preserved. That's just how it's going to be. I don't understand why people think that way. All right. And this is the thing. They need to just go ahead and give the fans what they want. Because most of the fans don't want these games to fall off. Now, you do have some people out here saying, like, all right, I don't understand this. Go play the new game, this, that, and the third. Like, some people are attached to these games. Some people have the expectation that when they buy these games are for them to keep indefinitely. That just goes for any type of, thing that you purchase. You buy a book, you don't expect that book to be taken away. You buy clothes, you don't expect those clothes to be taken away. You buy a movie off Netflix, well, whatever, where you can buy a movie, you don't expect that movie to be taken away. Anything that you buy, you don't expect it to be taken away. And even if they have these crazy ass clauses in these games saying that, hey, we can take these games away from you whenever we get ready, which I think should be illegal, because they try to have it both ways. You cannot have it to where, all right, we're going to buy this game, but we're going to take your money, and we can take it away from you at the same time and keep your money. Well, if you take the game away, give me my money back. But that's how it should be, But I don't know. Some people have this skewed mentality when it comes to games or whatever. You have some people out there that like this, and I just feel like at the end of the day, this is like horrible practices, and what Stop Killing Games is doing at Parliament is a really, good thing. I do believe at the end of the day that they're going to prevail. And I think that the fact that they will prevail is going to send precedent throughout the entire world when it comes to game preservation and games being put, out into the public for consumption. It's going to change things. Just like the whole thing with the license thing, buying a game with a license. California is doing something about that, and when that bill passed, it spread to everywhere. Because at the end of the day, you don't want to make something precedent for one set of or some district or one state or one country, and try to set different parameters for everyone else. It's just cheaper to just set one parameter based on that one law. So that's like the whole licensing, purchasing a game, purchasing a license thing. California passed that, everybody abides by it. And I'm pretty sure that if this passes, everybody's going to abide by what the EU is doing. That's why this is so important. But yeah, I'm looking forward to see what they continue to do, or hopefully they continue to push on. And I love the fact that they presented this in a way where it actually caught the eyes of a lot of people, and now the conversation is there. And the fact that the conversation is there, now you're going to have more conversations about this to where some things can get done. And I think something's going to be done. Do I think they're going to get everything done that they wanted? That's kind of far-fetched, but you would like to see that, but I don't think that's going to happen. I believe at the end of the day, they're going to get something to a resolution to where these practices are going to, be curtailed or cease to exist at the very least. But yeah, I'm gonna get out of here. I'm going to look at some other stuff on the internet. They're gonna take a while on my truck. I know they are, so I'm just gonna be sitting here chilling. And I'll be back with more content. Thank you guys for supporting, like, share, and subscribe. And let me know what you guys think. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.